Good afternoon. Good afternoon from the East Coast of the United States, where it is approximately a little past 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And I thought today I'll share with you some ideas that basically are eternally debated. Do we have free will? Is our life predetermined? Is there such a thing as karma, cause and effect? And can we transcend it? So if you're interested in these topics, just let me know that you are. And we can start because I think everything we do in our life is framed in this debate. Everything we do in our life is framed in this debate. Do we have free will? Is there ultimate freedom? Or is our life predetermined? You can always give me your opinion as well, so then we can maybe have some exchange and I can learn from you. So let me know if you're interested in this. Ruth from Norway, are you interested in this? Stein says yes. Rhonda says yes. Maria Suarez says yes. Tim Whiteley says go vegan, make peace is all that matters. Jessica says yes. Susan says yes. Monique says yes. So we can start. We're almost 900 people here. Tyrone says if God is real, then, well, I missed it. Carly says, I don't have free will over my addiction. Ingrid says, evolution is the important thing. It saved my life. Okay, we're up to almost 1,000 people, so let me start. Let me start on this topic. Leila says, the right use of will is the trick. Okay, let's start, guys. So, there are many views around what I'm speaking about. Is our life predetermined? Is there free will? Is there freedom to choose? Is there ultimate freedom from all choices as well? So let's go for it. There are two schools of thought when it comes to fundamental reality. Actually, there are many schools of thought, but the two most important schools of thought when it comes to fundamental reality is, one school of thought is what we call the physicalist school of thought. The physicalist school of thought is dominantly atheists and agnostics, and in the physicalist school of thought, our consciousness and our mind are byproducts of physical laws, and these are deterministic. So the brain is responsible for consciousness, and since the brain operates according to physicalist laws, then we do not essentially have free will. We may have the illusion of free will, but we don't have free will. This is the physicalist position. We say for physicalists, the primitive, ontological primitive of the universe is matter. Ontological primitive simply means the nature of being, the nature of existence. And so for physicalists, the essential fundamental reality is physical, particles, force fields, objects, the brain being one of them. And these are ruled by physical laws that are described by physics. Classical physics, no free will whatsoever. Quantum physics, maybe an element because of a principle called quantum uncertainty. But even there, much debate about whether we have free will or not. So if you are a physicalist, then you don't have a soul, there is no God, you have no free will, and even your creativity and imagination are governed by physical laws, neural networks. Okay, so that's the physicalist view. That is the first view. The radically opposite view of that is that consciousness is the ontological primitive of the universe, which means the fundamental nature of existence or being or reality is consciousness, and that what we call matter or physical reality, including the physical reality of our changing body, is a mental interpretation of perceptual activity. And when we put all these perceptual activities together, sensations, perceptions, images, feelings, thoughts, then what we get is the appearance of physical matter. We reify the limits of our perceptual experience, as Don Hoffman says. We reify, make solid in the way water vapor can ultimately become a sheet of ice or a glacier or a statue made of ice. In the same way, we reify the limits of our perceptual activity as the objective world. And then we can study it through natural laws, which are actually regularities of experience. And so if you believe that consciousness is the ontological primitive, and you are a part of that, in your brain, your mind, your body, your perceptual activity, what we call the physical universe, these are all modified expressions of consciousness or awareness, then you open the window to free will. But hold on, because it's not that simple. It's not that simple. Because in the wisdom traditions of Vedanta, there's also the concept of karma or the conditioned mind. And I've talked a lot about karma or the conditioned mind in the past, but the mind being conditioned creates something which is very individualized. And that individualized identity, at least on the surface, is mind, intellect, body, having an experience of the universe. Okay? Mind, intellect, and body having an experience of the universe. But there's a part of our being which we call ego, which is our self-image, which is the conditioned mind, through which all experiences are filtered. And because the ego is a conditioned mind, it is karmically bound into a certain range of choices. Once again, the conditioned mind is karmically bound to make conditioned choices by past experience. So let's say I had chocolate ice cream, and I would call that past experience. That's karma. And then I enjoyed that chocolate ice cream, which is an interpretation of that. And so I'm more likely to go again to the ice cream store and have chocolate ice cream. So the statistical likelihood of my making choices is reduced. I would prefer chocolate ice cream if I like it more than, say, salted peanuts. Okay, so there's a choice, but it is influenced by preference, and preference is influenced by past experience or karma. So karma limits the range of our choices. And once karma limits the range of our choices, then obviously free will is compromised. And if free will is compromised, then it's very likely that we will not make choices that are from total freedom. Okay? We will not make choices that are from total freedom. So karma, conditioning, ego mind define the statistical likelihood and even the statistical range of our choices and limit our freedom. And the whole goal in our wisdom traditions is how to go beyond that. How to go beyond the limited range of choices and ultimately experience infinite choices. Is that even possible? Now, even those who believe that consciousness is fundamental and that we are conscious agents or souls embedded in a matrix of conscious agents projecting the universe, even people who believe in that idea, like the cognitive scientist Don Hoffman will say that even though you do have free will, it's limited by the range of our perceptual capacity as a species, as a biological species. So in my mind, I look at biological species or biological organisms as actually symbolic representations of species of consciousness. We are a species of consciousness that have perceptual experience within a particular range of perceptual capacities. Again, I was listening to Don Hoffman, speaking with him, and because he's a cognitive scientist and he studies perception, he was telling me, and everybody else will also tell you, that there are species that have ranges of experience that are way beyond the boundaries of our perceptual capacity. There are birds and there are bees who have 360 degrees vision, and birds can experience colors that you and I can't even imagine. And this is an example from Don Hoffman. He says, can you imagine a color that you have never experienced? And the answer is you can't, because even your imagination is limited by the memory and interpretation of previous experiences. And your biological organism, being a symbolic representation of your soul or your being or your conscious agent, it limits the range of your perceptual capacity. So there are birds and pigeons, for example, who experience colors, we are told from cognitive scientists, that you can't even remotely imagine. So in a way, our freedom of choice is limited by the range of our perceptual capacities. Now, the goal of enlightenment and spiritual practices go beyond this conditioning and extend your range of perceptual experiences. Would you then be able to have extrasensory perception, or would you be able to experience what, say, other species are experiencing? And actually the Vedanta would say yes, if you transcend to the source of thought, the source of all experience, the source of all perceptual activity, and the source of all feeling and imagination, then you find something called pure consciousness, which is prior to the conditioned mind and ultimately prior to the species of consciousness that gives other biological species a different range of experiences. And over here, the traditions of yoga teach us how to do that through dhyan, dharana, samadhi. Dhyan is meditation, dharana is focused intention, and samadhi is transcendence. And there's a full chapter on this in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is called the Siddhis. And actually we teach these techniques in our courses and our retreats, particularly the seduction of spirit. And these siddhis and riddhis are known as supernormal or supernatural abilities or capacities that are very much part of the tradition of yoga and transcendence. That when you go beyond all modes of knowing and experience to the source of all modes of knowing and experience, which is pure consciousness, a field of infinite possibilities, a field of non-local correlation, a field of unpredictability, and a field of a field that is the source of creativity, but also the source of attention and intention, that from here we can actually make infinite choices, including transcending and choosing the experience which would be the outside the range of our perceptual capacities. So Dhyan Dharana Samadhi is the key to ultimate freedom, and what is also called moksha, freedom. Moksha means ultimate freedom and liberation. So what happens then? Do we have infinite freedom? The answer is yes, we do have infinite freedom, but we don't make choices. We get into a place of being which is called choiceless awareness. Choiceless awareness. Just pure being. And even though we have now infinite freedom, we have surrendered to the source of infinite freedom, ultimate reality. And that choiceless awareness allows us to evolve with and in alignment with the infinite consciousness that some religions call God. So, in moksha, even though we have infinite freedom, infinite choices, we actually become choiceless. Choiceless awareness, and we evolve in the direction of infinite creativity, synchronicity, comfort with unpredictability, and harness the powers of synchronicity, non-local correlation, attention, and intention. Thank you for joining me, and we'll continue these conversations because I realize that you and I are both interested in exploring reality. Somebody asked, is choiceless awareness the state of flow? Yes. In the state of flow, no regrets, no anticipation, no being victimized by memory, no resistance, just this moment evolving into higher levels of creativity and synchronicity. Thank you so much, and I'll join you tomorrow.